about variables and also equations, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so today we're going to learn how to put both of those things together and make it into how to solve that equation in one single step, okay?
Okay.
Cool, okay, but before we talk too much about that, we're going to do a fun activity.
Ooh.
So, it's Christmas time, so we are going to use ornaments. So,
I like ornaments.
can anybody read the question on the board for me? Aaron?
There are 4 ornaments total. How many are in the bag?
Okay, so you just found out there's 4 total. So I have some in the bag and some in my hand, but altogether there's 4. So you can't see how many are in the bag, but if you were to guess, how many do you think there are?
3.
3? Why do you pick 3?
I don't know. That's what I think it is.
So you think it is? Okay. Well, we just found out that there are 4 total, and I have 2 in my hand. So if I were to take 2 away from 4, what do you have?
2.
2, right, okay. Well, thinking back to when you said 5, how do you add? So you add 2 plus 3 to get 5, right? Well, since there's only 4, that can't be right.
No.
And so we take the total, right, 4, from the 2 that you see in my hand, and you said that that was
2.
exactly. So that's how many are in the bag. There are 2 in the bag. Does that kind of make sense? Okay, let's try it again, but with a different number. Okay, so I have 6 total, okay? And so how many are in my hand?
3.
3, exactly. So if I have 6 total, how many do you think are in the bag? So how do you think we should solve this?
You subtract.
Exactly, so we subtracted. What did we subtract last time? The what from the what?
The total from what was in your hand.
Exactly. So if there's 6 and there's 3 in my hand, how many do we have in the bag?
6 minus 3 is 3.
3, exactly. So we have 3 in the bag, 3 in my hand, which equals to 6. Exactly. So this represents the numbers that you can see, and this represents the unknown number, which is called a variable,
And
right?
that's what x is.
And that's what x is, right? Okay, let's try it one more time. It's a bigger number. Okay, so now I have 10 total.
Wow.
So I have 10 total ornaments, and I have 2 in my hand, right? So based on how we've been doing it, how many are total? Or how many do I have in the bag?
You have 10 total.
10 total.
So
2 in my
you
hand.
do 10 minus 2.
Yes.
And
What would that equal to?
8.
Right. So our unknown variable is equal to 8, right?
Yeah.
Very good. I'm very impressed. Okay. Well, I think you're kind of starting to understand exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
And now, since we just went over what that looked like with ornaments, we're going to look at how you can write that in equation form. So what we just looked at, it can be written down, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay. So remember that we had 4 ornaments total and 2 were outside of the bag, but we didn't know how many were inside the bag, right?
Right.
Okay, well, we are going to learn how to write the equation down. So we have x, which is the number that was in the bag and the number that we didn't know, right? So x is the variable. And you said it earlier, but what does the variable mean?
It's an unknown number.
An unknown number, right. Okay, so x is the unknown number, and then we have to add to that the number that you saw in my hand, which was 2, right?
2, yeah.
2 ornaments that were in my hand. So we have to add the unknown number plus the known number to get the total, which, do you remember what the total was?
It was 4.
The total was 4. Very good. Okay, so we have x plus 2 equals 4. And this represents an equation. Okay, so we've looked at that before, but now we're going to look at how you can solve that. Do you remember what the first step in solving when we were having the ornaments? What did you first do?
You had to know how many there were.
You had to know how many there were, exactly, and you had to know what was the unknown variable and what was the variable and how much the total was.
Yeah.
Now with all that information, what was the next step?
We subtracted.
You subtracted, exactly. So what was it that you were subtracting?
How many there were total from what I saw in your hand.
From what you saw in my hand, exactly. So with the ornaments, we had 4 total and 2 in my hand.
Mhm.
So we need to subtract what from what?
You subtract 4 minus 2.
Okay, and so a way you can do this that makes it easy to help you solve is that what you do on one side of the equation, you have to do to the other side, okay? That is a really important step. And so, since we're taking away 2, we have to do it from both sides. And so, when you take away 2 from this side, that cancels out because the plus 2 and minus 2 is equals just to 0. So we're just going to cancel it out.
Okay.
And then we're going to carry it over here too, because what you do on one side, you have to do on the other. And so 4 minus 2 equals to what?
2.
Exactly. And then you're going to bring down the variable x, which is what we're trying to find. So x equals to 2. Does that make sense?
And there were 2 in the bag.
2 in the bag, exactly. Okay. Well, now we're going to try it again, but we're going to do different numbers from what we used from the ornaments, okay? So this time we're going to do x plus 5 equals to 10. So, what's the first step like we talked about?
Subtract.
Subtracting. What are we subtracting?
You're subtracting the number that total from what you see, which
Okay.
is 10 minus 5.
Exactly. So what should I do first? Should I subtract 5 on this side?
Yeah,
Okay.
because what you do on one
And-
side, you have to do on
And do these add together, or do they subtract, or what?
That's 0.
It's 0 because it cancels out, right?
Yeah.
So that equals to just 0. But we have to also bring it over here because what you do to one side, you do to
The other.
exactly. So 10 minus 5 equals
5.
exactly. Okay. And of course, you have to bring down your variable, which is x, and then we have to also bring down our equal sign, which is right there in the middle, equals to what we know is 5. Very
So
good.
there were 5 on the outside and 5 on the inside.
Exactly. So, we are going to, I'm going to let you do the worksheet that I handed you, and with the worksheet, you're going to fill out the first 5 problems, and when you're done, you're going to look up, and then I'm going to have you come up here and write down some of those and walk through them, okay?
Okay.
So just let me know if you have any questions.
I'm done.
You're done. Okay, great. Now can you come up here and I want you to do I want you to pick 2 of them that you're most confident about and I want you to
Okay.
work them out on the board.
Okay. So, A
A plus
3 equals
8.
8.
How did you solve that?
You have to subtract 3, and those equal 0, so
Right.
it cancels out.
Cancels out.
And then you subtract 3, and that is 5.
Great.
And you bring that
Down
down.
the variable.
So you have A equals 5.
Perfect. Okay, that's very good. And if you want, you can do one more.
Okay. I'll do a big one. B
happy with how you did today, and next week we will be talking about fractions. Good job, class.
Thanks, Miss Dean.